Good evening. A bomb squad team, special responders, and dozens of law enforcement officers filled a Rhinelander neighborhood last Friday for what they thought was a potentially violent situation. The hours-long situation eventually ended with the discovery that it was simply a medical emergency. Newswatch 12's Dakota Sherrick has more on how a call for medical help escalated into something else entirely. Dakota?
I spoke with family members of the 911 caller, and they are upset. They say the caller cannot speak, but also can't understand how dispatchers got so much wrong information. Law enforcement says it used a method to communicate with people who can't speak, and its response was appropriate.
Total shock as to how this all played out and how they got this information that was not true.
Thomas Smith was detained by law enforcement after he called 911 for a medical emergency.
He's point blank was trying to get help, and it was taken way too far, and now my dad is in the hospital.
He got medical help, but family says police wounded him too.
My dad does have cuts, scrapes on his head, a bump on his head, cut up knees.
The 65-year-old Smith has Parkinson's disease, and his family says he cannot physically speak. So when Smith called 911, the dispatcher had to use a special technique.
If you need an ambulance, hit the button once. If you need police, hit the button twice.
911 operators can prompt callers to respond through button pushes.
It's not been used in forever.
When Smith indicated that he needed both the police and an ambulance, the dispatcher asked follow-up questions throughout the 56-minute call.
Did somebody injure you? Hit the button once.
Smith's responses led law enforcement to believe Smith was being held hostage by a man with guns and explosives. Smith's family doesn't buy it.
When a person who cannot communicate, he needs shortness of breath, you're going to press every button on the phone to get help.
The dispatch call ended abruptly, so when Smith exited his home, the Oneida County Special Response Team detained him. The family says Smith was treated roughly.
He did say that he was forced down, he was slammed on the ground.
Hook says Smith was not following directions, so Smith was then decentralized.
We acted on the information that we had. We couldn't have acted any other way.
The family says Smith will be okay, but the situation has taken a toll.
He's just really shaken up. He's very upset. A lot of different emotions going on with my family.
Meanwhile, Hook says law enforcement did what they needed to do.
We needed to keep the community safe as well as our officers safe, and we just did the best that we could with the information that we had.
The family thinks the situation should have been handled differently.
I'm his voice, and I'm going to make sure that, that this doesn't happen again to anybody else.
I spoke with Smith's son today, and he says Smith will most likely be in the hospital for a couple more days. Ben?
Dakota, thank you.